right. Paul Powerhouse Pallotta, musical sensation, former jazz artist, current but maybe changing country music star, Frankie Dip / Frankie Smoke / the artist known as Frankie. And I'm your host, the Athlete Bang. All right, it is August 8th, a Tuesday in 2023. We are most of the way through NBA's free agency summer. Lots of moves, some big, some small, some medium-sized moves, such as Porzingis being traded to the Boston Celtics, but some huge moves, like when last Friday, and you know, sometimes when news is so controversial, you want to release it at the end of a Friday so that the news cycle, it goes into the weekend, and by Monday nobody realizes it anymore, so you could avoid the big hubbub. And that's what I felt happened this past Friday when I got a text from our friend of the show, Paul Pallotta, saying, you might as well just crown the Hornets right now as champions. Get sized up, measured for the ring, because Frank Ntilikina has signed a 1-year deal with the Hornets, baby. We got the Frank shirt honored on the wall of fame behind us. I got my Frank jersey on. I got Hornets colors to celebrate our boy. This is the year that he finally breaks out. He just turned 25 the beginning of this month. And, Paul, how you feeling? You there, Paul? Paul, how you feeling? Hello? I think we lost Paul. Frankie, how you feeling? There's Paul. Paul, how you feeling? No? Paul? Paul?
Better.
Okay.
If I had, you hear me? You hear me?
Yes. Frankie, you
Better
hear?
if internet was.
You know, sometimes that's the deal.
Anyway,
Yeah, go ahead. How you feeling now that Frank is in Charlotte?
I'm feeling good. You know, we did the same thing with Dennis Smith Jr. Dennis Smith was ready to go play football.
Yeah.
He was done with basketball. He teams up with LaMelo, has a career resurgence, and now he's with Brooklyn on like a good-sized deal. His career's back on path. Frank's on that same trajectory.
Absolutely.
Right? No one's thinking about Frank. You know, he can come in, he can settle in his role. I don't know what kind of player he is. I've never really watched him, but he's a defensive guy, right? Always has.
Defensive specialist,
which is what we need, and that's what Steve Clifford loves.
Good to hear. Yeah, I think,
you know, we're gonna have offense on the second team. We're gonna have Hayward. We're gonna have PJ Washington. Maybe if PJ comes back, possibly Cody Martin. So we have some scorers coming off the bench. Brandon Miller if he comes off the bench. So now we need that defense.
Yeah, I mean, pair him with LaMelo Ball. That's a backcourt that could defend. I mean, obviously Rozier is starting, but you mix and match the rotation a bit. Like you kind of said, I thought Frank might have, to be honest, I thought he might have played his last game in the NBA, but it appears not. And
he still might, you know. I mean, if Nick Smith, you know, shows up, our first round draft pick, you know, he might get 5 minutes a game. Cody Martin will be back, so it's not a sure thing that he's, I would say, get locked in that second string role.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get into the rotation a little later on, but if and it's still not, his salary is not guaranteed, so we'll see if after training camp, if he's still with the team. If he's with the team, he'll get some minutes. Maybe not regular
Yeah,
minutes, but we'll see. Frankie,
and he's point guard, right?
he is a point guard, but
Mostly
he's
point.
kind of he's a combo guard because to be honest, he's not the greatest playmaker. He's the second greatest playmaker. I don't know. He's not the greatest playmaker, but
Yeah,
he
because
can
that's what we
do
don't have is like that backup
okay.
point guard.
Yeah, yeah, and that's why you've got a few options there, which we'll get into. And before we do that, I want to talk to my good friend Frankie, who you see at the bottom of the screen there, and you were always a jazz musician in New York.
Yes.
You took your act to Dallas coincidentally when Frank Ntilikina went to Dallas, and you started doing some country music.
Yes.
And what's next for you in your career?
Well, you know, Frankie and I have been together for so long, and our fates have been tied together mostly from him being the only person who will give me seafood regularly when I'm living in NBA stadium parking lots. So he's my meal ticket. I'm moving to Charlotte.
All right, baby. We're gonna have eyes on the ground because I'm gonna be watching lots of Charlotte games. You're going to Charlotte.
You got to go find that Plaza, the Midwood Steak, or what is it? I think Midwood Barbecue or something. Find that parking lot. You'll get some good food.
Okay, I gotta scout out this Midwood parking lot.
Yeah, Midwood. I think Midwood Smokehouse. That's what it is. Yeah, good barbecue down there.
You could visit that parking lot when the Hornets are on the road, but for home games, you'll just you could stay at
hang out in Spectrum.
Hang out at the arena. Hope when Frank Ntilikina comes out of the locker room, he grabs you a sardine from his pocket and tosses it right before he jumps onto his Vespa.
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about him having sardines in his pocket. The man is loaded.
I mean,
hey, there's a McCormick Steakhouse and Fish right there that you might be getting the top dollar stuff.
Ooh.
And you're right, he is loaded. Even though he's signed a minimum contract, the minimum contract goes up with every year of service. So it's now like $2.5 million that he's going to be making this year. That's a lot of sardines.
Oh, indeed. And I like that they call it service because I do think of him sort of as my fish waiter.
Yeah. Tip your server. Make sure you're always friendly to your server. Tip your server. Now, we've discussed how you're going to be getting your meals. Now, I'm curious about your music career. Any thoughts about changes in the genre of music or the style of music?
Yes, absolutely, Larry. As you know, I'm a bit of a musical chameleon. You have to respect your audience. You have to know the music scene where you're going. And so, Dallas, it was easy. Texas, country music. Charlotte, there's a few more influences, I feel like. So I did a very small amount of research and
the baby.
What I learned, yes, I feel like a baby born into this world of Charlotte music. And what I learned from some very quick mugling is that there's several famous Christian bands that have come out of Charlotte.
Are there really?
Yes. And so I'm rebranding myself to Frankie Saves. We're going straight edge. We're doing Christian music.
Wow.
Nice.
Wow. Okay. I mean,
maybe he could team up with the new owners of the Hornets, Eric Church and J. Cole, and we could just have like a country rap Christian album.
Oh, perfect.
Wait, does J. Cole own the Hornets now? Well,
Well, I mean, he's like him and Eric Church were part of the group that bought it. I
okay.
don't think he was like the main investor,
I
but
see.
he was part of the group.
Okay.
Yeah, it's two other guys who are like, I guess, the main people.
The main billionaires.
Yeah. They probably threw in a couple 100,000 just
Right.
to say they own part of the team.
Okay.
That'll be me one day.
Yeah, me too. I'll just
Yeah.
toss around 100K. Be like, give me part of the team.
Just let me in the war room on draft day. That's all I want.
So, let's see. So Frankie saves. Wow. Yeah. I mean, I have to ask. Have you started writing any? Have you started writing anything?
Oh, yes, I certainly have.
Would you care to give us a little bit of a sneak peek?
Oh, sure. It's gonna be a little bit of a teaser.
Sure. A sneak listen.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Jesus, give me one more chance. I don't want this to be my last dance. Keep that fish coming, it's what you do. Let Frankie get a year or two in Charlotte.
Woo! Yeah.
Mm.
From your lips to Jesus's ears.
I hope so.
Frankie get another
That's it.
year. And
He
like
might be Rozier's replacement.
he very well might trade Rozier out with the old and with the new. I mean, I'm thinking on draft night.
Mhm.
On draft night, when Charlotte was deciding between Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller, I think they knew,
Frank was available.
yeah, that they were going to be good on guards. So let's go with B.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Frankie. Now, so Frankie saves. What? Any? Well, first of all, as you know, Jesus can turn bread into fish, right, or something. He's able to create lots of fish.
He makes lots of fish. I do know this. I'm already on board.
Are you interested in any of the? I mean, you're going to what they call Tobacco Road, where there's a lot of tobacco products. You've been Frankie Smokes in the past. You've been Frankie Dip in the past.
Yes.
Now I know you're Frankie Saves now, which I love. But even I don't think smoking is against Jesus's teachings.
I think that's the 11th commandment. They just couldn't fit it on the rock. He ran out of room.
Yeah, it's true. And Moses did famously die of lung cancer. No, much like Frankie, we thought he might be done in the NBA. Well, I gotta tell you, it's hard for a stray cat to get across the Atlantic Ocean. And seeing as he's my meal ticket, I think it's time for us both to get serious.
Right.
No more idle distractions. Being around all this tobacco as a, former tobacco user, it is a bit like being a sex addict at a porn convention, but I'm powering through. It's time for self-control.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
It'd be your last chance.
Could be my last chance.
Before the lungs go. I'm sure kitty lungs can't only have they got a certain amount of cigarettes before they collapse.
Oh yeah, and I don't want to find out.
Right, but you can get lung cancer and die 9 times before it actually takes effect.
I think 8 times.
Yeah, 8 times.
God damn it.
So, how many times have you died?
Oh my goodness. Well, it may surprise you to learn this, Larry, but it's not exactly safe to walk along the highway from New York to Texas.
Yeah, I bet.
No.
Not exactly safe to make that trip to North Carolina either. So I'm down to 3 lives left.
Okay, you've been run over 6 times.
I've been run over 5 times and once killed by an angry crowd.
Oh man, an angry crowd at one of your shows?
Yeah.
You got to watch out for the copperheads.
What's that?
Oh.
Snakes?
I think it is a snake.
Okay, yeah.
I'm not sure he can hear us, but it is. I think that's what he means.
Do you watch out for snakes?
The copperhead, yeah, that's a snake.
Yeah, Frankie, do you watch out for snakes?
I do watch out for snakes.
Okay.
Oh, there's so many snakes in this music scene. You come thinking you're gonna make $50. Next thing you know, they're like, "Well, yeah, but then we're deducting. You have to buy 3 drinks to play, and that's about all $50 right there."
Yeah. Nah, Charlotte's got good prices on their drinks.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good to know.
Good to know.
Yeah.
Well, the best of luck to you on that, Frankie. Let's talk a little basketball, shall we? And let's talk about the rotation. I'm gonna share something, and that is my screen.
Nice.
Look at this spreadsheet, and we're
Damn, that looks good.
we're gonna zoom in a bit. And we're gonna fill out Charlotte's rotation right now. We're gonna make the decisions and see where the playing time is. I think
All right.
we're gonna start with the obvious, right? We're gonna put LaMelo Ball starting at point guard.
Right. Mark
Terry-
Williams.
Scary
Yep.
Terry. Yeah. Want to go with Mark Williams first?
Well, it don't matter. They're both starters.
Okay, so I'll defer to you here, Paul. Who's the starting center between Nick Richards and Mark Williams?
Mark Williams.
Okay.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But I think
Nick Richards.
Yeah,
Because he started the second half of the season once we traded Plumlee, and
Yeah.
we became one of the best not one of the best, but like top half defensive team in the league once we put Williams in.
right, and the two of them together they're both interesting. They're both young, recently drafted.
Mhm.
I think the Hornets.
Yeah, Nick Richards has been around for 3 or 4 years now, but
Okay.
yeah,
Williams, I guess, is only going to be he was a rookie
last year, yeah.
Now, I think obviously Terry Rozier is going to be a starter, right?
Yes.
He and they'll stagger the rotation. Hopefully Cliff knows what he's doing, and you always have one of Ball and Rozier on the court at all times.
Yeah, usually Rozier comes out first, and then Ball.
Okay, and then Rozier will then play with the backups, however you do it.
Right,
All right.
whoever it is.
Now we got to fill up these wing positions.
Yeah. Small forward, I'm going to go Gordon Hayward over Brandon Miller. That may not be the case to end the season, but to start the season, Hayward is starting.
I think so.
Going to go with the vet.
Of course, Hayward always misses a ton of games, so it's not going to be the end of the world for Brandon Miller.
And you want to see Brandon by the end of the year, because I think Hayward off the bench would be, limit if he could be traded at the deadline too.
Yeah,
he's on the last year of his contract. So if a team who is like looking to need that third or fourth score for a playoff push, but yeah, Hayward is starting.
Now, Miller could obviously play power forward. I think starter will probably be Miles Bridges.
Well, he suspended the first 10 games.
Right.
I think we're gonna end up, I believe, re-signing PJ Washington.
Right.
Who you don't have, rightfully so, because right now him or Oubre isn't technically signed. But I think we've re-signed PJ. He starts. We'll have, and then once, I think probably not right away, but I would say by All-Star break, Bridges is starting. PJ is off the bench.
Right, and that's assuming they bring back PJ Washington. He's a restricted.
Right.
And looks like Miller would be then.
Miller's there.
He's definitely going to be in the rotation.
Yeah. He'll be, 6th or 7th man. Assuming he's healthy, Cody Martin at shooting guard.
Mm-hmm.
Caleb. No, Cody.
No,
we have
Cody.
Caleb is. Yeah, Cody is on the Miami.
And
but Martin missed all of last year.
Oh, he did. Okay.
So
Injury.
yeah, like he played like 2 minutes because of an injury. So we didn't have him at all last year either, and he's a really good defensive player.
Does Clifford usually go 10 deep in a game, or sometimes not, depending on what's going on?
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah, I would say like 10 around.
Okay.
Last year it was tough to tell because we had so many injuries.
Right. Right.
And
So
then that point guard could
I think
that's where we had the hole. So that'll be either Frank, Nick Smith Jr., or we just signed, I think, someone else too. Um,
do you still have Theo Maladon?
uh, no, we don't have him. We have Bryce McGowan's.
Right. He is okay, so he played a bunch last year. Maladon maybe will be back. We don't know. They
I
did
know.
sign.
Let me see. I'm about to look him up.
Let's see.
Uh, okay, it's a way contract, so I guess we still do have him.
Who? Theo? Well, Theo is on our
Maladone, yeah.
but that is if nobody else offers him. So, but I think Charlotte would probably want to bring him back because he
Yeah.
is Frank's countryman, and they want to keep Frank happy for sure. You know what? I'm going to be a little ballsy. I'm
Right.
They can Frank as the 10th man to begin the season, assuming everybody's not suspended and healthy. But if he doesn't play well, he's going to have to battle for playing time with Nick Smith Jr.
Right, and it also, I don't know what position.
McGowan's going to be in the mix.
McGowan's, JT Thor, Kai Jones.
Yep, Thor. I think Kai Jones,
Center. TJ, JT Thor's power forward, and McGowan's at small forward. I would say round it out.
Let's say
Book Knight, get him the fuck off the team.
Yeah, I think they are done with Book Knight. I mean, if you find something great, but I don't think he's not going to be blocking anybody. Let's say Maladon is here as like the third string guard, and then you've got your two ways who will mostly be in the G League, and Amari Bailey and
and I like Bailey in the summer league. He had some good moments. So I would say right now that looks about how it's going to go in top 15.
Okay. So that means Frank, depending on PJ Washington, depending on everybody's health, depending on if he's able to keep his spot, is going to be somewhere between the 9th and 12th man, which is where he's always been, which is, I think, what we expect. And and hopefully he figures it out.
Come in, little breather.
What he needs to do.
Now, it wouldn't surprise me.
He always needs to be a little bit more confident offensively with his ball handling. But most important, he has nice shooting form. He just needs to be more confident with his shot. Because if he could hit threes at a good clip, and he's only really done that 1 year in his career where he hit 40% from the corners. If he can do that, he becomes a 3-and-D wing that could play on any team. Because he's got the D, he just needs the 3. Am I right, Frank?
Yes, you certainly are. And they ought to just give him a chance.
Give him a chance. Let's ship PJ Washington out of here. Let's ship Hayward out of here. And then we move Frank to the starting small forward with Brandon Miller there. Bridges still the power forward, kind of the 6th man. Cody Martin, the 7th man. And
I think we go opposite
Kai Jones as backup point guard. How about that?
Yeah, love it. Kai Jones wishes the way he'll try to bring that ball up sometimes. You're like, dude, what the hell are you doing? But I think we actually go opposite, where you keep having Brandon Miller go small forward or power forward. I think we envision him more as a small forward shooting guard.
I think he really.
Even with his size, I think we envision him more because he can pass, he can handle. I
Yeah,
think we would see him more as a shooting guard than a power forward.
interesting. I don't know if he played any center even in college.
Who?
Brandon Miller.
Oh, I don't know. Yeah.
But,
But I
yeah,
could
I
see
mean, I
him
think
having the ball in his hand a lot. Like maybe not this year because this year he's the fourth or fifth option, but like going forward, like almost a LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller backcourt,
yeah, I mean, he
which could
definitely
be fun. 6'7", 6'9".
he
Like
definitely showed those guard skills in college. I think though the way the NBA is moving is even if you could handle like you want everybody to be able to handle a
take it
little
up.
bit, everybody to be a playmaker a little bit. So even if he's playing at small forward or power forward, technically in this positionless league, it's still he still can handle plenty. It's similar to
Right.
What Paulo Banchero is, what OKC probably envisions with Chet Holmgren. So I could see lineups with Ball, Rozier, Miller, and whoever else. So 3 ball handlers. That
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah, yeah.
okay if Steve Clifford is willing to get freaky with it.
I think he is. He seems like a
Mhm.
freak.
Does is he in any way on the hot seat?
I think everybody is. Yeah, they have to be, right?
Yeah. Well,
So, but what?
well, Kupchak is still there, right? For now.
Yeah, but he's on his last year of his contract.
Mm.
So I think the new owners they're gonna come in this year, and this is an evaluation year.
Mm.
Let's see the coach. Let's see how the players are. I think Mitch is done regardless, just because his contract is up and his age. I mean, he's got to be getting up there. So
Yeah.
I think he's done regardless. Steve, I think it depends on like if we don't make play in, at least he's done.
I hope he's done. I don't personally like people named after big red dogs.
That's fair. That's fair. You don't like big red dog. And as you
Yeah,
said, like the ownership is good. They're going to want to at some point put in their own front office.
right. And if we get a new GM, that GM too may want his own guy and be like, hey, but
That's what always
Steve,
happens.
even though he's never like had much success, like he's won some games, he's very respected in the NBA.
Yeah.
By like players, peers, like people respect him for what he does.
Yeah, but cats don't.
No, not at all. What
No,
a coward.
yeah.
You're totally right. You're totally right, Paul. That new ownership probably once Kupchak's contract is over, unless he makes some brilliant enamours himself with the ownership this year, they're gonna want to hire somebody else, and then once that happens, it's only a matter of time before they get a new coach.
So let me ask you this. This is from an outside looking in because this is something I think about. Okay, right now, Jordan, people think of him as horrible. Mitch Kupchak, he was horrible for the Hornets. But if the Hornets go on to have success with Ball, Miller, Bridges as like your core 3, does that change your opinion on Mitch Kupchak and Michael Jordan and their legacy as owner GM combo? Because it would kind of be like Tony Dungy with the Bucks, right? Like Tony Dungy got us the core, but it was John Gruden who took us over the hump. But you still got to put respect on Tony Dungy's name for what he built.
Yeah, I think that you would, especially with that core. I think when they drafted Miles Bridges, it wasn't a reach at
They
that
traded
point.
away that.
They traded up for
Yeah,
him.
'cause
Right?
I know somehow it involved that Alexander from OKC, Shy. What's his name? The
Yeah,
superstar in
yeah.
OKC, Shy Alexander.
Yeah.
Somehow he was involved where like we
I
drafted Shy but traded him for Miles or something.
I think that's right. Where maybe you had the 10 pick, but traded down 2 spots in OKC or LA. It was the Clippers at that point who got SGA. So yeah, obviously missing out on SGA is bad, but I don't know if that was ever their pick to take. They take Miles Bridges. LaMelo Ball, they didn't really have a choice much. They
Miles
felt
was on.
and the big one is going to be Brandon Miller because he's always and Paul, hopefully you're still there. Brandon Miller for his whole career is going to be compared to Scoot Henderson. And if Scoot is markedly better, then I think Kupchak is out and going to be looked at as a failure. If Brandon Miller is about even or even better than Scoot, then that's going to be looked at as a success and really going to color the way we think about Mitch Kupchak.
Yeah, I know how that feels. You know,
Yeah.
I'm constantly being compared to Killian Koi Fish.
Yeah. I bet you'd like to kill some koi fish.
Oh, nothing would make me happier.
You know,
Am I back?
Yes, you're back.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, does that make sense? Would you agree with that? That Scoot and Miller are always going to be compared with each other?
Yeah, but again, we talked about it draft day. Like, this was the Hornets putting the ball solely in Ball's hands.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why have two? Now let me ask you this: say Scoot Henderson goes on to be like a 10-time All-Pro, like, you know, kind of a Hall of Fame player, and Brandon Miller becomes like a very, very solid, maybe it's one or two All-Stars, but he leads us to a couple of championships with LaMelo. Would you still call that a bad draft thing? And I don't think you know.
Yeah. I would.
If that makes sense, right?
I understand what you're saying. Like maybe
because then Scoot and LaMelo may never win together. Because usually if you get two ball dominant guards, you don't see them have much success. And after a couple of years, one of them is getting traded.
Right. And I mean, if Scoot is a 10-time All-Pro Hall of Famer, you'd say, well, they should have taken Scoot and just shipped off LaMelo or something. But in the scenario you're talking about, where LaMelo and Brandon Miller and Bridges and Frank as a core win championships, it won't even matter. It's just
right.
Like it'll be like this is a great team, great GM.
Right. Yeah. No, I'm 100% on board with Miller over Scoot. I think Scoot is the more exciting player, and because of his role with Portland, he's going to be the bigger. Because right now he's going to be the number one option, or number two, where Brandon Miller, his rookie year, is going to be 4 or 5.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And Scoot's the more highlighted worthy player.
Yeah, I still, if I were them, I would have just taken whoever I thought was better between Scoot and Brandon Miller. Don't worry too much about fit, because this.
I think you have to, though. We're at a point. The Hornets are at that point where it's like people say we're not that bad of a team. Like, people keep shitting on us, but we have talent if they can stay healthy.
There is some talent there. I'll give you that. I do think they're one of the they're the bottom half of the league as far as teams go. Well, let's go through that. Let's go through the East, the 15 teams in the East, and let's see who we would say is definitely going to finish ahead of them. Okay. I think you definitely put Milwaukee and Boston ahead of them. And I would say Miami.
Would you put Miami?
Yeah.
Because Miami, besides Jimmy Butler, unless they get Dame Lillard, Miami wasn't some superstar team. They had a hell of a playoff run.
Yeah.
But talent-wise, besides Jimmy Butler,
well, they
have some key role players.
They got Bam. They have, Tyler Hero, and sure, like they probably overperformed a bit in the playoffs, but I think they underperformed in the regular season. I would put them in the top tier of Eastern teams. There's definitely some issues there, but with Joel Embiid, I think you have to put Philly in the upper tier. I think based on what they did last year, the Knicks and Cavs got to kind of round out the top 6. Then you start having the other teams would be like
Atlanta.
Yeah, Atlanta, Toronto, Brooklyn.
Maybe Pacers.
Yeah. So those 4.
Detroit could surprise too this year. Some of their young players,
I do,
take that step forward.
But I'd put maybe Orlando ahead of them at 11, and then Detroit. Then Detroit, Charlotte, Indiana, or we maybe already mentioned Indiana, Detroit, Charlotte. Who else are we missing from the East?
Washington.
Washington stinks.
Gonna be trash.
I think Chicago stinks, and whoever else. So I think Charlotte is at.
Yeah, I think we're competing for a play-in spot.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So it's still you're still in the position of. I mean, you do have Miles Bridges back, which is huge for them. You want to. They're still at a spot where you're not like a championship contender, so I don't think you have to worry about fit too much. You just want to.
Don't forget though, we were playing team 2 of the last before. Like I said, this past year, LaMelo played 20 games. Cody Martin was out. We didn't have, we lost our two best players. So, but before that, we were 2 years in a row playing team at least.
Yeah, I mean, I hope
both times we would have made the actual playoffs, but Gordon Hayward got hurt and the team fell apart. So we're there talent-wise. I mean, we're deep too. We're 10, 11 deep.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say, McGowan's and Thor, that's deep, but
but that was the third.
I know, I got
that
you.
Was in the third row. Yeah,
I got you, and I hope no matter what that LaMelo Ball is healthy all year because I do like him. I do believe in him, and
the league is better with him. It's a better league with him. I'll put on YouTube sometimes LaMelo Ball highlights and just since I only watch Hornets, I don't realize what he's doing isn't normal.
Mm-hmm.
Rookie
of the year for a reason. So let's
get an all-star his second year.
Was he really?
He made an all-star game his second year, and then he got hurt his third year.
Okay.
So
4th year, big year.
Fourth year.
Don't trip over any fans.
He's going to be a top 5 MVP this year.
Nice. You heard it here first.
Heard it here first. Yeah. He's going to average 25, 11, 7.
Nice.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a fair. It's not going to be like Russell Westbrook stealing rebounds to try to get a triple-double. It's 7 because he's got size.
He's 6'7". He's got instincts. Yeah.
Candidate for all team defense.
Mm-hmm.
Once he learns a few tips and tricks from Frank.
Yeah, and dude, he has those long arms. So he gets steals. He'll average 2 steals a game, and
he's got size. That's why I thought he was the best player in the draft where he was. I mean, Anthony Edwards is clearly at this point at least surpassed him, but
right.
I was high on LaMelo Ball because of his size and defensive ability, and it was like Ben Simmons, but with confidence with the ball and shooting.
Can score.
Yeah. Frankie, what do you think the ceiling is for these Hornets?
I'm gonna say, yeah, I agree. I think they can make the playoff or the play-in. I think they can win the play-in. I'd love to get some smoked fish a little later into the year if we could have a playoff series going.
Mm-hmm. That June fish is the best.
Yeah. Mm.
Yes, I can't wait for some North Carolina June fish.
Also, can we? So, what's the deal with this mid-season play-in tournament? To me, that just makes no sense. I don't know if we talked about it draft day,
No, I don't think we did.
but that just to me is like I don't get. Like, are we just having like a mid-season playoff? I don't.
Yeah, it's supposed to do something that's supposed to be exciting for the regular season. I
Bring
think,
more money to the league.
yeah, at least it's not extra games. I'm okay with it in that sense that it's like besides for the championship game of the tournament, all the games that you play within the tournament are going to count as regular season games and count towards your 82.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So it's a way of like making a few regular season games more fun and interesting. I don't know if the players are going to care.
To them, it'll just be a game because that don't mean shit to them. They want the main one.
Yeah, and I mean there is a prize for winning the championship. There's like $1 million per player, but
you get a mid-season trip to Vegas.
Yeah, so it could be fun for them. It could become a destination. I wish they lowered the amount of regular season games to 72, something like that. That would have solved problems with players not playing back-to-back, players resting for injury. Every regular season game would be more important because there are less of them. It would have solved a lot of problems. But we'll see. I'm open to the tournament. I'm not excited about it. I'm not thinking, oh, I can't wait for this tournament.
Right.
Frankie, how about you? What's your excitement level for this in-season tournament?
I'm honestly not excited. More games away from Charlotte means more nights scrounging around in the gutters for me.
Yeah. Nights when Frankie Ntilikina is the French Prince is not going to be coming to the arena.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm commissioner, I'm abolishing away games for the Hornets.
82 home games.
Yes.
Yeah. So did you have a contingency plan if Ntilikina had to sign with a EuroLeague team?
I mean, at that point, we're just glomming on to anybody we can find.
So you would have stayed in the U.S., or would you have tried to be a stowaway on a transatlantic ship?
I mean, I think you got to at least give the stowaway a good old try. It's no guarantee anyone else is walking around with fish in their pockets. That's a unicorn player to me.
But if you're on a ship, you're not that far from the sea. I mean, maybe if you go on a fishing, but a fishing excursion.
This is true. And surely some of these fishermen, they're pocketing a little something on the side.
Yeah, you got to skim a little off the top, whatever your line of work is.
Yeah, I've seen that crab show. I mean, it's like, you mean these guys aren't taking any of their work home? I doubt it.
You ain't putting a few crabs in your pockets. How about FIBA, the FIBA tournament this year? I think it is. I think it's in the Philippines, but I'm not 100% sure about that. FIBA World Cup. Frankie is playing for Team France. Are you going to try to make it to the Philippines?
I'm a seafood motivated creature, so there's a lot of coast.
A lot of fish in the Philippines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think you got to give it a try.
Yeah, maybe Ntilikina will put you in his pocket.
Oh, I mean, obviously I'm a Christian now, but that's about as close to heaven as I think you can get, except the real thing.
Freshly stocked pockets.
Exactly.
Well, I wish you the best. And try some of that blackened catfish.
Ooh, yes, I definitely have to investigate this.
And while we're at it, Paul, can you tell us a little bit about North Carolina style barbecue?
They say the sauce is vinegar based. And that Lexington, North Carolina, is known as like the barbecue capital of North Carolina. Everyone always says Lexington, which is probably about 30 minutes to an hour from Charlotte. So you could probably just hitch a ride somewhere, hang out under a tailpipe. That way, yeah, I know it's a long way for a cat to walk, so
You could hang on the
just
tailpipe.
make sure you don't, yeah, just make sure you don't fall asleep on an engine overnight, because sometimes, if you don't check before you start your car, there's been a few cat casualties that way, so don't fall asleep under a car.
Oh, that's a good tip. I'm running out of mistakes I can make.
Yeah, because I gotta be honest. Whenever I start a car, I don't first check for cats on the engine.
Well, shame on you.
No, not too many people. And then you just hear a loud like, ah! And you
Yeah,
smell some
well,
burnt fur.
mm, that's shame on me is right. I think I'll try to be better. That's all I could do. I could try to be better next time.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So I think that covers the Hornets. I'm very much looking forward to watching them on League Pass because they have the best announcing team.
Oh my gosh,
Aside
so
from that,
good.
they have the best announcing team, and
Yep.
I'll be keeping up with them as long as like
Yeah.
Frankie's in the mix. I'll be keeping
And
up.
honestly, like I said, there's that wide open lane for Frank to play.
Yeah,
Because like, besides after Cody Martin, his main competition is going to be Book Knight, who I think we're all over. Nick Smith Jr., who he was the number one high school recruit coming out. He just got hurt last year, but he can score. But Steve very much he likes the veterans and he likes defense. So like, if you're going out there and scoring but not playing no defense, he might be like, hey, this is a two-way game.
and he's a vet now, so yeah.
He's a vet now.
Uh-oh, sorry, Frankie, for mentioning vets.
Ah!
Yeah,
He's
what's the announcer's name? The one who's like the most emphatic guy.
Eric Collins.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, it's Del Curry and I believe Eric Collins. Yeah, diddly dee.
And looking forward to seeing a lot of LaMelo Ball because he's an exciting player, and so is Miles Bridges. So
yeah, we'll see how Brandon looks coming out. Yeah. Scary Terry. I'm excited. I think we're going to surprise this year. I think Mark Williams is going to take a huge step forward. Like I said, we were a top half defensive team once he got put in.
I'll also say this. If Frank does legitimately become a part of the rotation, I may just have to buy a Charlotte Hornets jersey.
Oh shit!
Because let me tell you, I do think
good color scheme.
I think of like the three main jerseys that teams have in their rotation. I think Charlotte is number one. I really do.
Yeah.
I love the teal one with the pinstripes. The purple is an amazing accent color. I like the white one with the teal pinstripes, and the purple.
They'll do that mint green one sometimes.
Yeah, that was their city jersey one time.
Yeah,
and that was beautiful. And the purple base is a beautiful color. Good color scheme. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
All right, Paul. Anything you'd like to plug?
No, just as always, at Simply Appalling on Instagram, YouTube. I'm trying to get my YouTube up. Benny Winter Show. I'm trying to get more dates. But nothing right now.
All right, check out the Benny Winter Show. Lots of talented people in that at the Tank Theater.
Yep. Maybe. They haven't emailed back.
All right. Well, at some point, somewhere, it's going to happen.
Some point, somewhere. Right. It's not dead.
Frankie, any plugs?
Yeah. So as always, also at the Tank Theater, thearmory.com, there's improv, there's sketch. There's also I think I don't have the exact date for you, but at some point in September, there's going to be improvised Sweet Valley High at the Caveat Theater down in the East Village. So,
if you like Sweet Valley High, you'll love improvised Sweet Valley High.
Yeah.
And of course, I am at Larry the Athlete on all socials and YouTube. And make sure you like, subscribe to the pod, Larry Knows Sports, wherever you get your podcasts. May all your dreams be hoop dreams, and may the rest of your days be days of thunder.
bless us all.
Hey.